Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday and welcome to another episode of Bitcoin Magazine Live. I'm your host Q coming to you from sunny California. And I'm joined by my co-host P. How goes it, P?
As always, it goes fucking fantastically. My new mic setup, down versus up, is working great for me. More importantly, we're in an interesting situation. How do you feel about the fact that Bitcoin is on sale right now?
I mean, I'm very happy. I am ecstatic for cheap sats. And yet someone earlier today told me I'm not allowed to be happy about this.
What? Who said that?
You jackass.
What? When the fuck did I say? Oh, no. Okay. Got it. You're talking about our...
Damn it, P cursed in the first 30 seconds, too.
We're done.
Dude. All right, cancel the show. We're done for today. It was a good run.
It's bleeped out, but there you go.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, what is it down? What are we down? It went down at max by like 9%. Now we're at like, what is it? 7%. I have the block clock in the background. I don't even check it, to be honest. What are we at, Chris? Give us those stats.
Bitcoin is down 7.5% on the day right now. So we are down to $21,558. 4,000 or one cuck buck will get you 4,638 sats per cuck buck.
Yes.
Love it.
I want to unpack this real quick because I think it's really funny, P, that you said you don't know what the price of Bitcoin is and you don't really check it. And we've had this conversation plenty of times where once you've been in this space long enough, you don't really check the price. And then on days like today, whether you get a big price move down or a big price move up, it's, oh, well, Bitcoin crashed 9% or Bitcoin crashed 7.5%, as though, which it implies that you would know both what price it started at and what price it is now, or at least one of those prices so you can calculate it out. I just think it's funny. Price doesn't matter. Stack sats and stay humble, fam. Chris, what does your shirt say?
It says, buy the mother effing dip.
I believe it's pronounced motherfucking, but...
All right, I guess we're outside of the first 30 seconds, so I'll allow it.
We also did not introduce today's episode, but it is a Friday stream, so we're just going to do a tight 30 minutes of news and notes. We have a very, very special Twitter Spaces. We'll tease a little bit of it at the end of this, but hop on over to Twitter Spaces at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. You're not going to want to miss what we have cooking up, but we're going to keep on chugging along on news and notes. So today, it seems as though is a big options expiration date, and it is estimated about $2 trillion worth of options are set to expire, obligating holders to either roll over existing positions or start new ones. I tried to figure out if this was a quadruple or triple witching day, and I found out it's neither. It actually is. Oh, that sucks. I literally just closed the tab that had the answer to the question I was just asking.
Brohim. Wait. So I think we should take a step back, right? Let's talk about like what an option on an underlying asset is, right? So an option is a contract that allows you to basically, you can essentially, if you think that an underlying asset is going to go up, you can buy a call option. If you think it's going to go down, you can buy a put option. And basically, if it hits a certain strike price, then the contract is, so to speak, like valid and it can be exercised. There's way more complicated strategies that can be implemented with options. They're very interesting because they trade at a lower price relative to the underlying assets. They're used to basically hedge risk and to construct these complicated strategies and payout sort of systems that, you can say like, if this underlying asset reaches this price, but as long as it doesn't go up to here, then, I can basically resell these contracts for X number of dollars, and then you can use that to buy Bitcoin or whatever it is. So they can be nuanced. Do you want to go through what the difference between like a double witching, a triple witching, a quadruple witching is? If not,
sure. No, I'm happy to. And I'd also like to just quickly caveat the example you provided and the way I love to explain options and just the legalized casino that is the New York Stock Exchange and stock exchanges around the world. Options to me are the equivalent of, let's say you're a basketball fan and you think a team is going to win tonight. Well, if you think they're going to win, you're going to bet on the team to win. That's as though you just bought the stock, not an option. An option is saying, oh, I think LeBron James is going to score X number of points on the Lakers in this matchup. Like it's a bet within a bet almost. So again, just want to remind you all that this is just a legalized casino. So,
well, I mean, I gotta push back because
derivatives of a derivative. That's all.
Derivatives. I mean, we don't have to go into the history of derivatives. You should look it up. It is actually fascinating. Derivative, things like options contracts, like futures contracts, were actually invented long ago to allow producers of specific commodities to hedge their risk into the future. So they actually have like a very reasonable and necessary in terms of a financial market function. The issue is that in modern financial markets, they are not used as they were kind of originally intended. They are simply used to increase leverage. So that's what Q is referencing. But they're very nuanced. The point is you pay a small amount or a less amount, and then you get exposure to a significant amount of risk. And there's even crazier shit you can do where you can like sell options. That's like, you can have like undefined risk, which is fucking crazy. But the point is, when people talk about options expiration, you buy a specific contract that expires on a specific day. And if the strike price of that option contract is not reached, then the person who has sold or bought that contract has to decide whether they want to roll it over. That is to say, close the contract and then open a new position. And so, there's weekly options contracts, there's monthly options contracts, and then there's like quarterly options contracts. And so what happens is when we say those dates, that means that they expire on those specific sort of timescales. So the most the contracts with the highest liquidity, I believe, are the monthly contracts, and then there's less liquidity on the weekly, and then potentially less on the quarterly. I might have that a little bit backwards. The point is, there are certain days when they all start to expire, or they all expire on the same day. And the reason that's significant is because when options contracts expire in large volume, you see way more trading happening because people are closing those contracts. They're rolling them over to maintain their position. They're doing all these operations. And so that tends to have a significant effect on the market on those days. So today, a Friday, is a significant options trading day for that reason. And so, Q, did you already say how many the USD value?
I did. So it's $2 trillion USD, and the options that are expiring today are equity index, ETF, and ETN options that expire today. Technically speaking, this is not a quadruple or even a double witching day, just because we're not dealing with futures contracts for today. So that at least lets us steer clear. But to Pete's point, like, you're going to see massive volume. You've seen volume slow down, especially because it's the summer. The one thing to keep in mind, though, like, I'm a big believer that volume dictates everything that goes on in the market more so than price. Days like this they're the outlier days. You're going to get an artificially enhanced number for your volume, and whether the market goes up or down just really sends a message of how are the option traders gauging the health of the market and what direction do they sort of expect or are starting to hedge their bets, their next batch of bets towards. But I mean, this market, whatever you think this market is, whether you think it's a bull market, bear market, rally, or something in between, today is a day with a lot of volatility. So if you have options contracts expiring today, best of luck to you, and hopefully you're making some money. I'm going to move us to this next story. P, what is going on in Clown World?
Oh my God, it's fucking incredible. We've got an amazing clip for you from China. Let's roll it. God, I love that music. It was like, I felt like a what is it? Brian Trezor. Anyway, fucking ridiculous. What is happening? I was convinced that this was a fake video at first, but it is not. China is literally requiring not only the fishermen to be swabbed for COVID, they're fucking doing COVID tests on the catch, on these fish, on these crabs. It's amazing and insane and infuriating. I can't tell if it makes me happy that this is just a video that we all got to experience together, or just infuriated. And there's the balance between the two. But I mean, it's obscene. It's absurd. Fish, crabs, other sea creatures do not carry COVID, as far as science understand it to be. I have no fucking clue why they're testing these creatures with rapid COVID tests. The expense of those tests alone is absolutely insane. Welcome to Clown World, my friends.
I have a question for the two of you. Do either of you like fish sticks?
I do not.
I've had them. So if they're cooked well, I prefer fish and chips, fried.
Oh, so P likes fish sticks. What are you, a gay fish, P? Shout out my South Park fam. I see you, none your business. I see you, none your business in the chat. Love the South Park reference.
It's a fair question.
I'm going to ask Chris now. Chris, who's the biggest hypocrite last week?
Yeah, so the biggest hypocrite is Ryan Cohen. He is the CEO of, or is the CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond. He tweeted not even 2 months ago on June 29th, this year, "I'm sick of seeing failed executives making millions in risk-free compensation while shareholders are left holding the bag." And then, lo and behold, yesterday, Ryan Cohen, CEO of Bed Bath & Beyond, cashes out stock with more than $58 million of profit. Shares plunge again. This comes on the backs of Bed Bath & Beyond spiking, seeming like a meme stock, trading, I think it was up like 250%. Obviously, it's been very volatile. The market actually stopped its trading because of its volatility multiple times. But this is kind of one of those things. The stock was going up. A lot of people were buying it. Retail was getting in, and only for the CEO to dump on retail. And now I've heard inklings that Bed Bath & Beyond is having potential bankruptcy talks. So this is not a good sign. It does not look good when the CEO that was calling out hypocrites, failed executives for making all this money, risk-free trade, which is exactly what he did here.
Love to see assholes getting their asshole handed to them. Jerome Powell is going to speak on Friday, August 26th, a week from today, at the annual Jackson Hole Central Bank Conference. Because, it's always necessary that all the wealthiest people in the world gather at one of the wealthiest places or wealthiest zip codes in the country to talk about how wonderful the world that they've destroyed is.
This sounds like a boys' weekend, hanging out on taxpayer dime, playing golf, drinking beer, cocaine and hookers and strippers and all that. That's what it sounds like.
Absolutely. The cocaine, strippers, and booze budget is it's like 50% of the entire event.
To be honest, I don't think you guys realize just how jealous I am that they get to go to Jackson Hole and do all of this like that. That's why I'm salty. But I moving on. P, show us the incentives.
Indeed. Wait. Where are we? I've completely lost the thread.
The second blue highlighted section.
The Wall Street pivot.
Yes.
We just talked about that one, didn't we?
No.
Fair enough. My friends, apologies. There are so many news stories going on today that it is hard to keep track of them. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, and Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock. This shows their quotes from 2017 all the way through 2022, showing how they have adapted their opinions to the changing market. Now, that may seem like a very reasonable thing to do, and truly it is, right? There is absolutely nothing wrong, and everyone should be willing to admit when they've made mistakes and then change their opinion as new information comes to them. But these quotes to me are super disingenuous. This is basically CEOs doing whatever they need to do in order to sell their product in the current market conditions. So when Bitcoin was earlier, they were just fudding it so hard. And now that Bitcoin has clawed its way, by the skin of its teeth and by all of our efforts up into a legitimate asset class, they are shifting their narrative and they're like, oh yeah, totally. We've always been supportive of Bitcoin. I mean, makes sense. Let's fucking go. So you just need to be aware that these types of changes are happening. Do not give these people credit for their genius and forethought because they didn't fucking have it.
Yeah, I mean, this will not be the last of people you will see that we in Bitcoin have kept the receipts on. We keep our receipts here in Bitcoin. And as each and every single one of you jackasses flip flop and you come over to the Bitcoin side, like Mr. Wonderful did exactly this. We also have, countless other bankers, like he who shall not be named and P's former fraternity brother, have come out and called Bitcoin things like rat poison. And I honestly, let me ask a serious question. Is Charlie Munger going to die or change his stance on Bitcoin first?
Oh, 100% he's going to die. No fucking question. Have you seen pictures of him? He literally looks like the Crypt Keeper. His skin is hanging all like, honestly, I have to give him credit. The fact that he has maintained some semblance of lucidity, given his advanced age. I mean, look, he's almost as old as I am. He didn't obviously figure out the arcane rituals and rejuvenation treatments that I figured out. But yeah, I mean, his eyes are at fucking two different levels. He's an old ass man. He's gonna die because his
I mean,
his
the
incentives
drink weekly helps, but moving on.
Absolutely, his incentives force him to maintain that stance. There's no way he's going to acknowledge it because he's invested too much of his brand and his capital in fudding Bitcoin.
Show P the incentives. Chris, what the fuck did Crypto Whale do this time?
So Crypto Whale is a large account on Twitter. It was kind of spreading fake news. So they sent this post saying the SEC issued a cease and desist order against Tether and Bitfinex parent company iFinex, basically saying that Tether was artificially manipulating the price of Bitcoin and other emerging asset classes, and that the SEC was obviously offered them cease and desist order. It's actually very funny. I had to see this through one of my other accounts that I have. Because I am currently blocked by Crypto Whale. And I forgot about this like months ago. I mean, you don't really know when you get blocked by someone. It was just kind of like one of those things. I was like looking for the account and I couldn't find it on my personal. So he was fudding something else. I think it was something about like how Bitcoin can't scale. And I brought up the Lightning Network. And I probably said it like that. I was like, dude, maybe you should look into the Lightning Network. And that got me the ban hammer or the block hammer. And so I saw it via another account that he was fudding that, and it's not true. All the comments too. This is a new feature in Twitter. He was blocking people that were replying saying it was fake news. Like he was hiding.
Dude, that happened to me recently too when I commented on something that Watcher Guru wrote. But I just think it's hilarious. Like when Chris was telling us the story this morning, I literally was like, wait, how about? Chris is the nicest person on Twitter. Like, how do you block this kid?
They don't want the truth. That's what they don't want.
Yeah, Crypto Whale, correct me if I'm wrong, is the account that basically maintains this sea of like 15 to 20 accounts, constantly changes their names, spreads FUD, pumps his own bags. Like it's total horseshit. There are some really great threads on Twitter that go through and really clearly document, keep all the receipts, exactly the kind of Ponzi scheme bullshit that the Crypto Whale account is running. But you absolutely need to understand that just because someone has a lot of followers, it does not mean, or even a blue check mark, it does not mean that they have valid opinions or that they are someone that can be trusted. You got to slay your heroes and you have to hold yourself accountable for.
Hammerstock brought up another point. Kim.com is another one. He was calling him. Kim.com is actually the only other person that has blocked me, or at least that I know of. So
really?
I
just heard
that is a badge of honor, sir.
P the other night when giving me a ride home told me the legend that is Kim.com, and I greatly appreciated that story. So
yeah.
All right.
Let's talk liquidity and let's talk how much Bitcoin has settled. In the last 12 months, the Bitcoin network has settled over $62 trillion worth of Bitcoin. For context, Amazon, it's worth 1.4 trillion, Apple 2.8. Gold's market cap is less than 12 trillion. The US GDP, I know, Chris, you put 23 trillion. I do not think we're going to get anywhere close to 23 trillion this year. So, I mean, you could literally combine everything I just told you, and that's less than the Bitcoin network settled last year. So, Yeah, tell me more why we need to use fiat and Western Union and just the current payment rails when there is this technology that's out there available, cheaper and easier to use than anything that's ever been created. Oh, right. The powers that be don't want you to. Did I get every single point I needed to get in that one run on sentence, guys?
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Alrighty. Well, then on that note, P, what the fuck
Absolutely.
did Elizabeth Warren do?
So, 4 U.S. Bitcoin mining companies, including Marathon, Riot, Core Scientific, and Stronghold, have received a letter from the the U.S. House Committee on Energy and Commerce demanding explanations of energy usage and e-waste. And we rant about this a lot, but there is such an unfair fixation that people have on Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining specifically, and it is absolutely absurd. When you look at the amount of electricity that Bitcoin miners use in comparison to the broader, electrical / energy use environment in the world, it is a tiny, tiny fraction of the whole. Things like Christmas lights that are run in the United States alone over the Christmas holiday consume more energy during the Christmas holiday than the entire Bitcoin mining space does in an entire year. Things like washing machines, things like dryers. No one is coming after like a big electric Christmas light and being like, show us how much energy people use when they use your Christmas lights. No one is taking accountability for the fact that most people like to use a clothes dryer in their home, and clothes dryers in the United States use more energy than the entire Bitcoin network does on a yearly basis. No one gives a shit about that stuff. This is just political garbage, and it's ridiculous.
I also think it's worth pointing out, and I will always say this because this isn't a conversation that gets had. You hear the Christmas tree lights, you hear the washer and dryer. Dude, how much energy do you think all the ATMs that are operating around the country, around the world take up? You really don't think that has a significant impact on global energy usage?
I just want to jump in and say one other thing. I basically just said like Bitcoin uses this much energy, this other thing uses even more energy. But I actually want to acknowledge that is not actually the right frame. I'm using those as examples because this is kind of the frame that's here. The reality is no one should be able to tell you how you choose to use the electricity that you have bought and paid for with your hard-earned dollars at all. And people don't, except unfairly in Bitcoin. But the real answer here is not to like frame certain things as like this uses more electricity than that. It's to sort of break the frame and say like, it is ridiculous that anyone is telling another party how much this thing that they've purchased, they're allowed to use or what they're able to use it for. They bought the electricity, they should be able to use it for whatever the fuck they want. That's the reality.
All right. On that note, I got a few things to tell all of you. First things first, if you're not subscribed to the channel, boom, right down there, press that subscribe button. Our jobs literally rely on that. So, and I'm not kidding about that. So
that was a clean finger point, by the way, Q. That was
please.
Clean.
You
nailed it. Every other time you fucked it up, but you got it.
Okay. I'm on a roll here, guys. Stop. We're not talking over Q today. So next thing you got to do, you guys have been looking forward to this interview. Odell, myself, P, we got really drunk, locked ourselves in a room, and we talked for hours on end. That's going to be coming out later this afternoon. So you're not going to want to miss that conversation. To be honest, I've had countless hours of interviewed now over 100 people. That was by far one of the most fun experiences I've ever had. And P was just an absolute clown and buffoon. So take a lot of screenshots, post a lot of memes, make fun of us for the stupid things, faces, and words we said. Of course, we have this surprise spaces that's going to kick off in about 5 minutes. So we will be wrapping here shortly to set up for that. But I really want to urge you, if you have 5-10 minutes to spare, if you're a tried and true Bitcoiner, this is a space you're going to want to be in. I can't say anything more than that. Just hop on over. You'll see once we open the space why. Of course, print mag is available. I brought a lot of print mags back to Los Angeles. If you are an LA born and bred person, send me a DM. There's a magazine waiting for you. And last but not least, use promo code BMLive. Get 10% off of your Bitcoin Amsterdam tickets. Do it for the children. We are the children. It's been a great episode. It's been a great week. Guys, anything else before we wrap up?
That's it.
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm just going to echo what you said. This The podcast we recorded with Odell is fucking hilarious. I may have said some crazy shit while drunk. It's worth it.
If
Lobsters.
I don't see Twitter,
We talked about fucking lobsters. We talked about eating insects.
Literally.
I'm proud of it. I'm proud of everything that I said, and I stand behind it.
You guys should also buy the domain names we talked about, or at least at bare minimum, I'll give you this one hint. Go to the websites that we reference. If Odell did his job right, Odell should have redirected some of those websites to some pretty fun things. So, all right, guys, we'll see you on Twitter in just a minute. And if not, go check out the interview with Odell later this afternoon.
Peace.